Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are doing a video on painting our vintage travel trailer. So when we first purchased Susie the Shasta, she was already painted, but it was very bright blue and like a red stripe, and it also wasn't the best paint job. It was done pretty poorly and like was chipping a lot already. Yeah, it had like a lot of chips, and like we hadn't even just sitting in our driveway, all the paint was chipping off already. So we had kind of a vision in mind of what color we wanted, and since the paint job was kind of already needing redone, we decided to just go ahead and go for it. But that did put a little extra work since it had already painted it. So we looked at like all of our options for painting it, and we ended up deciding just to use like a regular latex acrylic based paint. It did cost only about like what, probably 200-ish, around 200-ish for like all of our supplies. We'll get into that in a second. So we had to start by sanding off the paint, especially the bottom half of the camper. So we were keeping the top half white, so we didn't worry as much about sanding that. We just did like a quick hit on the top half, but the bottom half we wanted to get a good majority of that like electric blue paint off, because we were covering it with like a softer seafoamy green. So we definitely wanted to get a lot of that bright blue off. So sanding it was definitely the hardest part of the whole thing. Like hours of sanding.
Yeah, I spent the majority of the time doing that. I did it to about 1 in the morning one night.
Because we had to have it done.
Got home from work.
Yeah, we had like we were on a timeline like when we had to paint, and
so I did it for like 6 hours.
And like there was days that we both were working a lot at the time, so like every waking minute that we weren't at work, we were just standing. So I'll look here. We got our sander off of Amazon. We'll like post a link and show the one we have though, but it's just a Black & Decker random Orbit sander, 5-inch. As far as materials, we got our paint from Sherwin Williams. We'll show here in a second like what the paint cans were that we used. We bought a gallon of white and a gallon of the green, and that did the entire trailer. We did almost run out of white though. We did hit like the entire trailer with white.
We had just enough. We
had like the exact amount. So a gallon, we have, if you don't know, it's 1969 Shasta Compact. It's 13 foot with a tongue, 10 foot without, and so that gallon did exactly. So definitely if you have a bigger trailer, you need a lot more paint. Then the sprayer. So we got kind of lucky with this. I'm going to look at what it's called. My dad is a carpenter, and so he already had a paint sprayer, and he had a pretty good one. So this job would get pricier, I guess, if you needed to buy a sprayer, but you definitely wouldn't have to buy the one that we had. There's a lot cheaper ones you can get for like $50 to $100. The one we use, just so you know, is a Graco electric stationary airless paint sprayer. So we'll post that so you can see that. It's like a top dollar guy. It was really nice to have, and I'm glad that like we already had that, so we didn't have to invest in anything. But like I said, you could definitely do it with something not as expensive as that one.
So then when we took the trailer back to have it painted, we already had it sanded down, so all we really needed to do at that point was tape it all off and get it prepared, which, if you know anything about painting, is obviously the most time-consuming thing you can do. So initially it wasn't so bad. We just had to tape the windows and the tongue and cover up the tires and things like that. But once we got that done, the painting itself took maybe maybe a minute.
It's so funny, like my dad was like a ninja, like with that sprayer, like
it was really
super
fast.
Speed, like yeah.
It was really fast.
So it was like hours of prep work, and then like, oh, that's done. I feel like that song in Moana, the shiny. That's what it is. So if you look here, this is really shiny. If you look over here, it's also really shiny. But if you go over here, it is now still shiny. So that's what we're working with, basically.
So after we did that, let it sit overnight. The next day, everything's nice and dry. I started to tape off the that classic Shasta design down the side and the front and back, which I just basically used just a straight level and a ruler just to get my lines straight and measure everything. Maybe took me like 20 minutes or so, not too bad. And then we kind of just put plastic up on the top so we didn't get the white covered in green. And this one took even less time, just sprayed right through it.
So for the stripe, we had found this metallic chrome automobile tape on Amazon. And we really liked how it looked. Oh, Mitzi's whining out the window. We really liked how it looked. And we had seen some other people use it for their trailers, so we decided to try that. And so it took us some time to like get that lined up, and we would have to do so much at a time and try to get it to lay all flat. And so we spent a good amount of time putting that chrome tape on, right?
Yeah, that was
a couple hours,
very
I'd say, at
time-consuming.
least.
Yeah, it was a time-consuming process, which didn't turn out the best.
Yeah, it was. It looked beautiful.
But
Like when we got that on, I was like, whoa! Like this is like the chrome
yeah,
like look that I wanted. The same day that we put the tape on, we had to drive the trailer back to St. Louis from my parents' house, so that's like an hour and a half drive, and it poured, like super windy, super like torrential downpour, like worst case scenario. So that also didn't help. I'm still not sure that the tape would have held no matter what, but that definitely didn't help.
no.
And then the next trip we took with it. So after that, one, like a small tiny piece fell off. Mitzi's not getting enough attention, apparently.
Yeah.
So a little tiny piece fell off, but we had some leftovers, so we just fixed it.
Yeah.
And we thought, like, okay, maybe that's all it is. But I could tell that the front, especially. What? Hi for the pug, y'all. I could tell that the front especially wasn't adhering very well, so we took it down to the Smoky Mountains next, which is about like an 8-hour trip. Again, poured, rained so hard, like every time we traveled with this thing, like it just was storms. A lot of the tape, like half almost, came off on that trip.
Yeah, a really good portion.
And so we decided, after talking about it for a while, we threw out a couple options, like having someone professionally put on decals, maybe trying another type of like this chrome tape, and the decals were going to be really pricey to do it professionally, and we just like didn't have it in our budget at this point, and we didn't really want to try tape again and this happened again. We're like over it. So Rye just did like the spray paint is what we ended up going with. We spray painted it.
So kind of same situation. We taped off again. I just taped around where the stripe was and removed the rest of it. Put up plastic so spray paint wouldn't get everywhere. And it just took real quick to hit it. I did 2 coats on that just to make sure I really got it. And the spray paint itself really wasn't nearly as shiny as the tape, which is kind of disappointing, but
it was like hard when we like took it off, and I was like, this is not the same look. But like I've gotten used to it, I'd say. Like I think if I never would have seen the chrome metallic tape first, I wouldn't even know that anything was like wrong with the spray paint we have on it now. It's just a little dull compared to like the metallic tape.
It's a little bit, but it still has kind of a metallic luster to it. It still looks good. The trailer itself still looks really good.
And it's holding up, which was like our main thing. We did not want to have to retape every month or like deal with it all the time. We wanted something that was like done. And I think this is going to last for a good amount of time.
Yeah, it'll be something definitely for the amount of time that we own the trailer. It won't be an issue. Several years down the line, it being spray paint, you might have to redo it. But
yeah, definitely. Well, and that's kind of this whole paint process. I did a lot of research before we did this, and I know there's people who have had their trailers painted like this for several years, and it still looked really well. But if you wanted something that's going to last a lifetime, you're going to have to do automobile paint. Like, that's like really the only thing that's going to last a good amount of time. So this probably down the road would need to be redone or touched up, but for now it's working really well, and I honestly haven't really seen any chips or any problems. Like, even with some of these storms we've been in, it's held up really well. Pretty much nothing with an RV works the first time. You'll probably always have to do it twice or 3 times or like 8 times. You don't really know, but here it be. Thanks for watching. We will post a few more videos like this if you want any requests for any tutorials of how we did anything with this trailer. But we will have to tend to Mitzi now. She really needs that attention, I guess. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, give us some comments, and we'll see you next time.